Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're getting right down to a really crucial aspect of self-defense,
Hmm.
how you can effectively use your head, knees, and elbows,
Right.
as natural weapons.
Right. And our main source for this is Geoff Thompson's book, Real Head, Knees, and Elbows.
Exactly. Geoff Thompson.
Yeah, for anyone who follows the contemporary martial arts scene, Thompson's a pretty significant voice.
He's not just talking theory, is he?
Not at all. I mean, he's got over 20 books, loads of videos.
Wow.
His reputation is built on, well, real-world stuff.
Like working with police, military?
And his time on nightclub doors, definitely. He's even been the BBC's go-to guy for self-defense expertise sometimes.
What I find interesting is his cross-training approach.
Yeah, he pulls techniques from all over, blends them into something practical for, actual confrontations, not just sport.
Absolutely. And adding to that credibility, the book actually kicks off with a foreword by Dave Turton. He's a sixth Dan in Goshikwai combat.
Right, Turton. He brings a ton of experience, and he really believes in these close-range tools.
He even shares a pretty intense personal story, doesn't he? From a grading.
Oh, yeah, his first Dan grading. Says he took a perfect inward vertical elbow straight into a knee to the head.
Ouch. That's about as direct a demonstration as you can get, I suppose.
Definitely makes an impact hearing it from someone at that level. Turton also talks about Kenshiro Abe, the founder of their system.
Abbey was big on close quarters work.
Very much so. Apparently used knees to the thigh, quick headbutts, sort of softening opponents up before a judo throw,
Maybe.
and on the ground. Elbows, head strikes, setting up submissions. It really shows how fundamental these weapons can be, even for, high-level judoka.
And Turton saw this stuff applied elsewhere too, right? With Thai boxers?
He did. He mentions legends like Woody, Toddy, Master Sken,
Oh.
how they just mastered turning knees and elbows into, well, fight-ending weapons.
There's that story about Master Skin.
Oh, the one working security. Yeah, incredible. Turton says Sken took out 4 huge Maori rugby players.
4 of them, using just knees and elbows.
Just knees and elbows. Well-placed ones, obviously.
Yeah.
It really underlines the sheer power we're discussing here.
Wow, it really does.
That Sken story shows the potential when you have that level of precision and trained force. It's testament to these natural tools used by Master.
And Turton himself used them.
Yeah, he talks about a nightclub incident. Things got messy. He ended up using rear headbutts and an elbow to handle someone and their bigger friend. Again, it's that real-world application that makes this stuff so relevant.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive then is pretty clear. We want to pull out the practical, usable knowledge from Thompson's book.
Right, how to actually use your head, knees, elbows effectively for self-defense.
We want to give our listeners a clear understanding, some insights they can, actually take away. So let's get into it. Starting with the head. Often underestimated, maybe.
Definitely. The head is, well, it's a fascinating tool as Thompson presents it. Used right, devastatingly effective, huge force potential.
But there's a but.
There's always a but. It carries risks. For the attacker, I mean. If your technique isn't right, you can hurt yourself badly. It's not casual.
No. And Thompson really drives this home with the story of Tony the Head R.
Yeah. The nickname says it all, doesn't it?
Apparently a true master. Thompson says he had incredible accuracy, even from weird ranges, and that nobody ever just stood there after taking one of Tony's headbutts.
There's that anecdote from On the Door.
The axe guy. Yeah, that's wild. Tony faces a guy with an axe,
And headbutts him.
knocks him out cold, drops the axe. Severe facial injuries.
Yeah.
Paramedics thought it was a car crash.
It's extreme, but it highlights the potential, doesn't it? That this unconventional weapon can be highly effective for some.
But Thompson quickly gets practical about the risks, the fear of hurting your own head.
Exactly. Technique is everything. He really hammers this point. Target below the opponent's eye line.
And the part of your head you hit with.
That needs to be above their eye line, your forehead, maybe the crown. Hard bone against softer parts of their face.
Right, hard versus soft, makes sense.
Mm.
So Thompson breaks it down, 5 ways to use the head.
Yep, 5 distinct methods. First 2 are kind of similar. Left to right and right to left. Using the corners of your forehead.
And the key there is?
Whiplash. That sudden forward snap of the body. He also suggests using grips, grabbing their clothes.
To pull them into the strike.
Exactly. Maximize the impact. Like cracking a whip, he says. The sudden movement focuses the force.
That whiplash idea seems crucial, using your whole body.
Definitely, you're transferring way more force that way.
Okay, third type.
The forward thrusting headbutt. Front or corner of the forehead again. But here, Thompson gives a really specific warning.
Oh, yeah, the teeth thing.
His own experience. He punched someone, hit their teeth, ended up in hospital with an abscess. So, yeah, hitting teeth with your forehead, bad idea. Be mindful.
That's a really practical, painful lesson learned, I guess.
Yeah.
Easy to overlook in the heat of the moment.
Very easy. The risk of injuring yourself is always there.
Fourth headbutt.
Yeah.
The upward one.
Right. Usually from grappling range. Like if your head is near their chest or below their chin.
So you drive upwards.
Rapid upward thrust. Crown of your head aiming for their chin. Thompson uses that powerful example from Unleash the Lioness.
The woman fighting off an attacker.
Yeah, she instinctively, accidentally landed a reverse headbutt during a struggle. Devastating effect. Shows the raw power even without perfect technique sometimes.
Wow. Surprise and a vulnerable target really amplify it.
Absolutely.
And the last one, backward headbutt.
Yeah, this relies a lot on surprise, knowing someone's right behind you.
So if they're grabbing you or about to.
Exactly. If they haven't grabbed you yet, Thompson says just violently lurch backward, whip your head back into their face.
And if they have grabbed you, like in a bear hug.
Then bring your head forward slightly, then repeatedly smash it backward into their face until they let go. It's about using their closeness against them.
Turning their attack into your opportunity. It's very reactive.
That's the idea. Create space, disrupt them, buy yourself time.
And across all of these, Thompson stresses bending your knees.
Crucial for power, driving up and forward, but also
To get below their eye line.
exactly. Lowers your head, reduces the risk of that forehead-on-forehead impact.
Which he specifically warns against.
Strongly. Says it's just likely to injure both people. Not a winning strategy, despite what you see in films.
No clear winner, just two people hurt. Okay.
Right. More likely mutual pain than a decisive victory.
He also touches on using headbutts on the ground, doesn't he? From the mount.
Briefly, yeah. His strategy there is like, use fists first, try to open up their guard around their face.
Create a distraction or an opening.
Then, if you get a gap, drive in with multiple headbutts, aiming to knock them out or make them turn over.
Which opens up the choke.
Exactly. Brutal, maybe, but potentially effective in that specific, very close scenario.
It shows the versatility, even when limbs are tied up, using whatever's available. Every tool you've got in that kind of situation. Okay, so that's the head. Powerful, risky. Now let's shift to another set of natural weapons. Knees. Made famous, really, by Muay Thai.
Definitely. Thompson gives credit to those Muay Thai legends, Master Sken, Toddy, Woody, Sandy Holt.
Yeah, so they basically elevated knee techniques to the same level as, like, a Western boxer's punches. Just natural, effective tools.
He mostly sees them as close-in weapons, though, right? In fighting grappling range.
Generally, yes. When you're too close for long kicks or punches, maybe in a clinch. Though he does say, specialists.
They can use them at longer ranges. Flying knees and stuff.
Right, but that takes a lot of specific training. For most people in self-defense, knees are probably coming into play when you're already tangled up close.
Thompson tells that story about Bob, the martial arts instructor.
Yeah, the comedy gig one. Bob's main thing was Muay Thai.
And some guy got disruptive, came onto the stage.
Yeah, with bad intentions, apparently. And Bob just reacted instinctively, tie a knee right into the solar plexus.
Dropped him instantly. Completely neutralized him. And the audience thought it was part of the act at first.
That really shows the kind of stomping power a good knee strike can have. Solar plexus is a prime target.
Oh, yeah. Hits the breathing, massive pain, immediately debilitating.
So Thompson details different knee attacks. The upward knee first, often taught for groin strikes.
Right, the basic groin shot. Thompson acknowledges it can work, but he warns against thinking it's some kind of guaranteed fight ender.
Low magic bullets.
Exactly. And he stresses speed, a shark drive, not a slow push. Plus, there's the risk of your leg getting grabbed.
What's the big risk with knees and kicks?
Always. He also mentions a key tactic, using grips. Hair, close. Pull their head down into the path of the knee.
Aiming for the face, then.
Yeah, maximizing the impact by bringing the target to the weapon. That's a core principle in close combat.
Okay, next knee. The forward knee. Thompson's favorite.
His personal favorite, yeah. Though he says it needs more hip extension to really power it up.
So it's more deliberate.
It seems like it. He talks about getting a solid grip, shoulder level on their clothes. Then it's this push-pull action with the arms.
To create space and off-balance them.
Right. And then you drive the knee upward and forward, but the key is really snapping the hip through at the moment of impact. Full body power.
Sounds very dynamic, using your whole structure.
That hip extension is critical. It's not just lifting your leg, it's driving through, engaging your core. Massive force at close range, hard to defend.
Then there's a roundhouse knee.
Yeah, this one he sees as less of a knockout shot, more for like creating openings, messing up their balance, weakening them.
Higher skill involved.
Relatively, yeah. It's kind of like a roundhouse kick, but with the knee. Mostly grappling range, often targeting the opponent's thigh or maybe their knee.
To destabilize them.
Exactly. But again, the warning. Careful your leg doesn't get caught.
Always at risk.
Advanced fighters might use a flying roundhouse knee to the head, but yeah, that's very specialized.
What about the inward knee?
Thompson finds that one less effective for, immediate self-defense. He thinks it's more for wearing someone down in a match. Targets the inner thigh, maybe the side.
So context matters. Not every technique is for every situation.
Absolutely. You want the techniques with the highest chance of immediate impact in a real situation.
Jumping front knee. He seemed surprised by this one.
He did. Admits he was skeptical at first, just training on pads. Didn't feel like much.
But in sparring.
Totally different story. Caused significant impact, head injuries even, without full force. He uses it in vertical grappling.
Grabbing the back of their neck.
Yeah, get control. Then drive that jumping knee right into their face. The momentum plus the direct impact can be devastating.
You can see how that would work. And added momentum makes a huge difference.
Definitely. Pads just don't replicate a moving, resisting human target perfectly.
Lastly, the knee drop. For downed opponents.
Yeah. Gary Spire's specialty, Thompson says. Finishing someone on the ground. Effectiveness depends a lot on your body weight driving down.
But it sounds risky.
Very. If the opponent can still grab you, they could potentially reverse things. Thompson generally advises against it for self-defense.
Hit and run's better.
Usually, yeah. Create distance, escape, don't hang around on the ground if you can help it. High risk, maybe high reward, but often better suited for controlled fights.
Makes sense. Get away safe is the goal.
Exactly.
So for practicing knees, he suggests clothed punch bags.
Yeah, to simulate gripping clothes, swinging bags for dynamic timing, and focus pads with a partner, a uke.
And he points to Thai boxing again.
As a system that really integrates knees effectively. Makes sense, they're famous for it.
Okay, great. So head, knees, now the final piece, elbows.
Elbows. Thompson suggests they can be almost as versatile as hands, just usually at shorter range.
Some fighters see them as primary weapons.
Some experienced ones do, yeah, because they're so hard, and the potential for fight-ending damage in close is huge.
He tells that story about Mick the doorman.
Right. Escorting a woman out, gets attacked suddenly with a bottle.
And reacts with a reverse elbow.
Instantly. Shark reverse elbow to the attacker's face. Neutralize the threat right there. Shows the speed and impact, especially that close.
That suddenness from an unexpected angle must be really disorienting.
And damaging.
But Thompson does draw a distinction. Training elbows on a bag versus reality.
Yeah, crucial point. On a bag, they feel super powerful. But in a real moving fight, that perfect elbow range can be, well, fleeting. Hard to find and maintain.
And he thinks they lack something compared to hands.
He feels they don't have the same feel, the fine control, the accuracy, or the sneakiness, maybe, that hands offer.
Interesting distinction. Raw power versus finesse.
Something like that. Hands give you more feedback, more options for manipulation in close.
So you can break down different elbow strikes. Downward strike first.
Yeah, used against someone grabbing your waist or legs, high downward arc, aiming for the spine, neck, ribs, vulnerable spots.
We're using their grab against you.
Leveraging their hold, then the side thrust elbow for attacks from the side, drive it across your body. Solar plexus, throat, face, again, critical areas. Quick, forceful counter to a flank attack.
Reverse elbow, like Mick used.
Yep. Sharp retraction in the arm, step back simultaneously, aiming for those same vital targets. Solar plexus, throat, face, great for creating space while hitting back.
Uppercut elbow.
Similar idea to an uppercut punch, upward thrust, often turning the body for power. He emphasizes keeping it flowing, relaxed, not stiff. Palm towards your ear is a good guide for technique.
Okay. Roundhouse elbow.
Close range, circular strike, like a hook punch, but with the elbow. Again, loose, flowing, body weight behind it, targets the side of the head or body.
And the overhand elbow is similar.
Same motion, basically, but a higher angle. Comes down more. Good for getting over someone's guard if they're covering up high or if they're bent over. A chopping action.
Hacking elbow. Sounds nasty.
It is. Downward strike, often aimed at the collarbone, very painful, can break easily, or dragged across the face, causes cuts.
Can be enhanced with a jump.
Yeah, add momentum downwards. Also useful for finishing on the ground.
Punching elbow. Sounds sneaky.
It's a deceptive tactic. You deliberately throw a punch slightly short.
Making them react to the punch.
Exactly. And then you catch them with the elbow of the same arm as it comes past. often using a cross punch to set it up. Clever exploits their focus.
Retraction elbow. Sounds like a foul.
Thompson describes it that way, like a boxer's foul. You miss a punch, then deliberately hit with the elbow on the way back. Effective in chaos, maybe, but yeah. Questionable tactics in some contexts.
Drop elbow. To the leg.
Devastating leg attack. Similar to a tie kick to the thigh, but using the point of the elbow, drive it right into the thigh muscle.
To weaken or incapacitate the leg.
Yeah. Can be combined with knee strikes to the same thigh, too. Really targets their mobility. Brutal.
Leg of elbow. Thompson likes this one.
Favors it, yeah. Specifically for grappling, if you manage to catch or pick up their leg,
It's an opening.
a big one, you just smash your elbow down into their exposed thigh, causes major pain, damage. Then you can follow up with throws, takedowns, punches, capitalizes on that grappling advantage.
And finally, angular elbows.
These are the ones that don't fit neatly into the other boxes. More intuitive, adaptable strikes.
Things that develop with experience.
Exactly. Seeing an opening and just filling it with an elbow strike, whatever the angle, a natural progression for skilled fighters who understand range and movement.
Okay, so bringing this all together then. Head, knees, elbows. Incredibly valuable close-range tools.
Definitely. Each with unique strengths, specific applications depending on the range, the situation.
But as Thompson really emphasizes, mastering even the basics takes practice. Understanding range, context.
And this is absolutely crucial, remembering Thompson's core philosophy. Physical self-protection, that's the last resort. Absolute last resort.
Avoidance first.
Always. Avoidance, escape, talking your way out of it. De-escalation, only when you have absolutely no other choice, when harm is unavoidable.
Then you have to commit.
Fully. No hesitation. If you have to use physical force, you go 100%.
That's such a vital perspective. We've talked about the mechanics, the potential damage, but the real goal is never having to use it.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for our listeners. Considering how close range all these techniques are, headbutts, knees in a clinch, elbows right up close, how might just understanding these principles, even if you never plan to use them, how might that sharpen your awareness? Your awareness of personal space, potential threats, just navigating everyday situations.
Interesting. Even if physical conflict isn't the goal, understanding the dynamics of that close range.
Exactly. It might change how you perceive proximity, potential risks, maybe even how you carry yourself. Something to think about.
Definitely something valuable to reflect on.
Ah.
Well, if this deep dive into real head, knees, and elbows got you thinking, we really encourage you to check out more of Geoff Thompson's work.
Or just explore martial arts and self-defense more broadly. There's always more to learn.
For sure. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this deep dive.